Namaskaram. NRIs, bank managers, bank directors, and uh, residents of India having dealings in foreign exchange, exporters and importers. ఈరోజు నేను ఇన్బౌండ్ ఇన్వెస్ట్మెంట్స్ టాపిక్ చాప్టర్ 8 ఆఫ్ ది మై నోట్స్ ఫర్ ఫెరమ్మా ఫారిన్ ఎక్స్చేంజ్ మేనేజ్మెంట్ యాక్ట్ డిస్కస్ చేస్తాను. Cross border transaction is the important aspect of globalization. Of course, ఎప్పటి నుంచో బార్టర్ ట్రేడ్ ఇండియాకి విదేశాలతో ఉంది. సముద్రయానం ద్వారా ఇండియా నుంచి విలువైన వాణిజ్య ఉత్పత్తులు, స్పైసెస్ విదేశాలకు ఎగుమతి అవి కావాల్సిన వస్తువులు అక్కడి నుంచి ఇక్కడ దిగుమతి చేసుకోవడం. అప్పుడు మారక ద్రవ్యం పర్టికులర్గా ఇది లేదు, ఏ దేశానికి కరెన్సీ గోల్డ్ ఆర్ సిల్వర్, లేకపోతే ఆ ధరల్లో వస్తువుల ధరల ప్రకారంగా దామాష పంచుకునేవారు, ఇచ్చిపుచ్చుకునేవారు. అయితే వన్ ఆఫ్ ద టైప్స్ ఆఫ్ క్రాస్ బోర్డర్ ట్రాన్సాక్షన్ ఇస్ ఇన్బౌండ్ ఇన్వెస్ట్మెంట్, where foreign entities investing in local economies, bringing in foreign capital, or foreign entities granting advances or loan to local entities, which can be described as under investment in non-debt instruments of Indian entity by person resident outside India. Debt instruments, that is borrowings funds from outside India, like external commercial borrowings, trade credits, etc. మొదట ఇన్వెస్ట్మెంట్ బై ఫారిన్ ఎంటిటీస్ ఇన్ ఇండియన్ ఎంటిటీ ఇన్ నాన్ డెట్ ఇన్స్ట్రుమెంట్స్ తీసుకుంటే, నాన్ డెట్ ఇన్స్ట్రుమెంట్స్ క్యాన్ బి ఎక్స్ప్లెయిన్డ్ యాజ్ ఇన్వెస్ట్మెంట్ ఇన్ ఈక్విటీ ఇన్స్ట్రుమెంట్స్, వేర్ a person resident outside India invests in the equity shares or convertible debentures. Please note this. Debenture is ordinary parlance a debt instrument, but here it is convertible debenture or convertible preference shares of an Indian entity. ఈ మూడిట్లో ఎక్కడైనా when a person resident outside India invests in the Indian entity in non-debt instruments, where one of the common type of investing in equity instruments is FDI, foreign direct investment. ఇప్పుడు చూస్తున్నాం స్టాక్ మార్కెట్ పడిపోవడానికి ఎన్నో రీజన్స్ ఉంటాయి. ఒకటి, గత డిసెంబర్ నుంచి ఇంకా ముందు నుంచి జనవరి వరకు మధ్యలో వరకు ఎఫ్డిఐ సేల్ చేస్తున్నారు మార్కెట్లో. ఈక్విటీస్ వాడుకున్నాయి. రీజన్స్ వాళ్ళే వాడుకున్నాయి, సమ్ విత్ లాజిక్. వెన్ దిస్ ఈస్ గవర్న్ బై ద ఫారిన్ ఎక్స్చేంజ్ మేనేజ్మెంట్ bracket non-debt instrument bracket closed rules 2019 and foreign exchange management bracket mode of payment and reporting of non-debt instruments bracket close, again a bracket amendment bracket close regulations 2024. Foreign exchange management bracket non-debt instruments bracket close rules 2019. ఇవి నోటిఫికేషన్ నెంబర్ SO S.O 3732 bracket E bracket close dated 17th October 2019, published in the Gazette of India Extra PT Roman 2 section 3 small Roman 2 number 3392 dated 17th October 2019. and it came into force on the same day, 17th October 2019. In exercise of the powers conferred by clauses bracket small a and small ab of subsection 2 of section 46 of Foreign Exchange Management Act 1999, Act number 42 of 1999, and in supersession of the Foreign Exchange Management bracket transfer of issue of security by a person resident outside India bracket close regulations 2017, and Foreign Exchange Management bracket acquisition and transfer of human property in India bracket close regulations 2018, except as respects thing as respects things done or omitted to be done before any such supersession, the central government hereby makes the following rules, namely మీ మెమరీ రిఫ్రెష్ చేయడానికి ఫారిన్ ఎక్స్చేంజ్ మేనేజ్మెంట్లో యాక్ట్లో రూల్స్ గవర్నమెంట్ సెంట్రల్ గవర్నమెంట్ చేస్తారు. దే డిసైడ్ ది పాలసీ విచ్ దే ఆర్ vested under Section 46 of the FAMA Act. Regulations the procedural aspects held by the Reserve Bank of India. దీనిలో చాప్టర్ 1 preliminary షార్ట్ టైటిల్ అండ్ కమెన్స్మెంట్ ఇందాక చదివిందే. సబ్సెక్షన్ 2 of section 1 save as otherwise provided in the rules they shall come into force from 17th October 2019 of their publication official gazette అని ఇచ్చారు. Definitions in these rules, unless the context otherwise requires a small a, act means FEMA. B, asset reconstruction company means a company registered with the RBI Reserve Bank under Section 3 of the SIB, securitization and reconstruction of financial assets bracket no bracket and enforcement of Securities Interest Act 2002, Act 54 of 2002. Sorry, I'll join you within 1 minute. This power cable not connected, so battery low. This prompt displayed on the screen. Now I set it right. Authorized bank subsection subclause C of section 2 defines shall have the meaning assigned to it in the FEMA Foreign Exchange Management bracket deposit by close regulations 2016. Authorized dealer, this is clause D, includes you have to be careful. It's a wider meaning, not necessarily restricted to the definition given here. A person authorized under subsection 1 of the section 10 of the Act. The Act, wherever it is referred, it refers to FEMA as per clause A above. Then clause DA. This is inserted by S.O 3492 bracket D bracket close dated 16th August 2024. Control, the word control shall have the same meaning as assigned to it in the Companies Act 2013, and for the purpose of limited liability partnership, shall mean the right to appoint majority of the designated partners where such designated partners, with specific exclusion to others, have control over all the policies of an LLP. So clause E, convertible note. Convertible note means an instrument issued by a startup company acknowledging receipt of money initially as debt, repayable at the option of the holder, or which is convertible into such a number of equity shares of that company, within a period not exceeding 5 years from the date of issue of the convertible note, upon occurrence of specified events as per other terms and conditions agreed and indicated in the instrument. Clause F. Debt instruments means all instruments other than non-debt instruments defined in clause A I of this rule. AI, which I do not find here. Where is it? I'll find and let you know. Next, clause G. Depository receipt means a foreign currency denominated instrument, whether listed on an international exchange or not, issued by a foreign depository in a permissible jurisdiction on the back of eligible securities issued or transferred to that foreign depository and deposited with a domestic custodian and includes a global depository receipt GDR as defined in the Companies Act 2013, Act number 18 of 2013. Clause H. Domestic custodian. In the above clause G, there is a mention of domestic custodian. Means the custodian of securities registered with the Securities and Exchange Board of India in accordance with the SEBI Custodian of Securities Regulations 1996. Then domestic depository. Domestic custodian is different from domestic depository. Domestic depository means a custodian of securities registered with the SEBI and authorized by the issuing entity to issue Indian Depository Receipts (IDR) against global depository reserves. Then comes to clause I. E is known J. ESOP means employees stock option as defined under the Companies Act 2013 and issued under the regulations by the SEBI. Clause K. Equity instruments means equity shares as mentioned earlier, convertible debentures, preference shares, and share warrants issued by an Indian company. Explanation 1. Roman 1. Equity shares issued in accordance with the provisions of the Companies Act 2013 shall include equity shares that have been partly paid. Next, convertible debentures means fully, compulsorily and mandatorily convertible debentures. Full stop. Preference shares means fully, compulsorily, and mandatory convertible into preference shares. Share warrants are those issued by an Indian company in accordance with the regulations by the SEBI. Full stop. Equity instruments can contain an optionality clause subject to a minimum lock-in period of 1 year or as prescribed for the specific sector, whichever is higher, but without any option or right to exit at an issued price. This is important. Without any option or right to exist at an issued price. Clause 2 of subclause 2 of clause K. Partly paid up shares that have been issued to a person resident outside India shall be fully called up within 12 months of such issue or as may be specified by RBI from time to time. 25% of the total consideration amount, bracket, including share premium, if any, bracket close, shall be received upfront along with the application in the first instance. The balance three-fourths can be by way of calls on shares. In case of share warrants, this is subclause 3 of K, clause K of section 2 of the Foreign Exchange Management Non-Debt Instrument Rules 2019. Share warrant, at least 25% of the consideration shall be received upfront and the balance amount within 18 months against within 12 months in the case of partly paid shares. In the case of warrants, it is up to 18 months of the issue of share warrants. Then coming to clause L of section 2 of non-debt instrument rules 2019, escrow account. Escrow account means an escrow account maintained in accordance with the Foreign Exchange Management bracket deposit by close regulations 2016. Then come to FDI linked performance conditions. Means the sector specific conditions specified in Schedule 1 of these rules for companies receiving foreign investment. Certain sectors allowed 50, 100%, 50% like that due to some strategic sovereignty of India. Then comes to FVCI, means a foreign venture capital investor incorporated and established outside India and registered with the SEBI under the SEBI Foreign Venture Capital Investors Rules Regulations 2000, not the rules, Regulations 2000. Then Clause O of Section 2. Foreign central bank means an institution or organization or body corporate established in a country outside India and entrusted with the responsibility of carrying out central bank functions under the law for the time being enforced in that country. Come to FCNR B. Before that, I go back. I found this AI mentioned in clause F4 in the subsequent portion of the rules. What this reads. Non-debt instruments means following instruments, namely 1. All investments in equity instruments in incorporated entities, public, private, listed, and unlisted. 2. Capital participation in LLP. 3. All instruments of investment recognized in the FDA policy notified from time to time. 4. Investments in units of alternate investment funds, AIFs, comma, real estate investment trust, REITs, and infrastructure investment trusts, INVITs. Next, investment in units of mutual funds or exchange traded funds, ETFs, which invest more than 50% in equity. Next, subclause 6. Junior most layer, that is equity tranche of securitization structure. 7 subclause. Acquisition, sale, or dealing directly in immovable property. 8. Contribution to trust. And the last one, subclause is depository receipts issued against equity instruments. Coming back to foreign central bank, we have discussed clause H, clause O, P, clause P. FCNR bracket capital B bracket close account means a foreign currency non-resident bracket bank close account maintained in accordance with the foreign exchange management bracket deposit close regulations 2016. FCCB or foreign currency convertible bond means a bond issued under the issue of foreign exchange foreign currency convertible bonds and ordinary shares bracket through depository receipt mechanism bracket close scheme 1993 and clause R alphabet small r FDI or foreign direct investment means investment through equity instruments by a person resident outside India in an unlisted Indian company or in 10% that is unlisted, no percentage mentioned, 10% or more of post-issue paid up capital on a fully diluted basis of a listed Indian company. Note, in case of an investment by a person resident outside India in equity instruments of a listed Indian company falls to a level below 10% of the post-issue paid up capital on a fully diluted basis. Investment shall continue to be treated as FDI, though the rule defines 10 or more of a listed company on a fully diluted basis post issue of the capital. But even if where once it touched before issue it is 10, after issue onto due to dilution by offer of shares or offer OFS is something. The other frame they use in the listed companies is second phrase clause. By virtue of that, after dilution, it may come down to less than 10%. Still, the regulations hold good and continues to be applicable as to regular FDIs. An explanation. Fully diluted basis means total number of shares that would be outstanding if all possible sources of conversion are exercised. Convertible debentures, convertible preference shares, convertible warrants. If all those are exercised, what would be the total capital on dilution basis? We can arrive. Clause S. Foreign investment means any investment made by a person resident outside India on a repatriable basis, important, in equity instruments of an Indian company or to the capital of a LLP. Explanation. If a declaration is made by a person as per the provisions of the Companies Act 2013 about a beneficial interest being held by a person resident outside India, then even though the investment may be made by a resident Indian citizen, the same shall be counted as foreign investment. Here is a deemed fiction. If such a way a declaration is made by a person, beneficial interest, legal interest, it continues to be considered as a foreign investment note, even if it is made by a resident Indian citizen. A person resident outside India may hold foreign investments either as FDI or FPI. What is FPI? We will discuss in the next clause T. FDI we discussed above at clause R, English alphabet. In any particular Indian company. Then coming to foreign portfolio investment means any investment made by a person resident outside India through equity investments where such investment is less than, this is the 10% of the post issue paid up share capital on a fully diluted basis of a listed Indian company, or less than 10% of the total paid up value of each series of investments of a Indian listed company. Above 10% means FDI, below 10% means FPI. Next comes clause U. FPI or foreign portfolio investor means a person registered in accordance with the provisions of the SEBI bracket foreign portfolio investors bracket those regulations 2014. After U, V is the clause defining government approval. Means the approval from the erstwhile Secretariat for Industrial Assistance SIA, Department of Industrial Policy Promotion, DIPP, Government of India, and or the erstwhile Foreign Investment Promotion Board FIPB, uh, and or any of the ministry, department of the Government of India, as the case may be. Coming to clause W, group company means two or more enterprises which, directly or indirectly, are in a position to, first condition one, exercise 26% or more of voting rights in the other enterprise. Next, second option is appoint more than 50% of members of board of directors in other enterprise. Exercising of votes 26%. Appointment of board of members of the board of directors 50%. Then coming to clause X, hybrid securities, which means hybrid instruments such as optionally or partially convertible preferred shares or debentures and other such instruments as specified by the central government from time to time, which can be issued by an Indian company or trust. Here, trust and the trust comes to a person resident outside India. And what is Indian company? Clause Y defines means a company incorporated in India. Z, clause Z, IDR, Indian depository receipts, means any instrument in the form of a deposit receipt created by a domestic depository in India and authorized by a company incorporated outside India making an issue of such a depository receipts. Then coming to sub next numbering after exhausting Z, they have provided clauses with two or three letters. This clause AA, Indian entity, shall mean an Indian company or LLP. Clause AAA, triple A, inserted by GSR number G.S.R 332 bracket E bracket close date 24th June, January 2024. International exchange shall mean permitted stock exchanges in permissible jurisdictions which are listed at Schedule 11 annexed to these rules. These are more wide and comprehensive rules. It has so many schedules, so many definitions in section 2. Then clause A, B, small a, B. Investing company means an Indian company holding only investments in other Indian company or companies directly or indirectly, other than for trading of such holdings or securities, not for trading, held for investment. Then clause AC. Investment means to subscribe, acquire, hold, or transfer any security or unit issued by a person resident outside India. Here is an explanation. 1. Investment shall include to acquire, hold, or transfer deposit receipts issued outside India, the underlying of which is a security issued by a person resident in India. 2. For the purpose of LLP, investment shall mean capital contribution or acquisition or transfer of profit shares. Clause AD. Investment on repatriation basis means an investment, sale or maturity proceeds of which are net of taxes eligible to be repatriated out of India, and expression investment on non-repatriation basis shall be understood accordingly. Clause AE. Investment vehicle means an entity registered and regulated under regulations framed by the SEBI or any other authority designated for that purpose and shall include, namely, real estate investment trusts REITs governed by SEBI REITs regulations 2014. 2. Infrastructure investment trusts in which governed by SEBI Invest regulations 2014, and alternative investment funds AIFs governed by SEBI AIF Crows regulations 2012. Clause AF. LLP means a limited liability partnership firm formed and registered under the Limited Liability Partnership Act 2008, Act number 6 of 2009. Then AG, clause AG. Listed Indian company means an Indian company which has any of its equity instruments or debt instruments listed on the recognized stock exchange in India and on an international exchange, and the expression unlisted company shall be construed accordingly. Clause AH, manufacture, with its grammatical variations, means a change in a non-living physical object or article or thing, number one, resulting in transformation of the object or article or thing into a new and a distinct object or article or thing having a different name, character, and use, or bringing into existence of a new and distinct object or article or thing with a different chemical composition or integral structure. AI next, the serial which we have discussed with reference to non-debt instruments. Understanding. AJ, NRI, or non-resident Indian means an individual resident outside India who is a citizen of India. Then AK clause. OCI, or overseas citizen of India, means an individual resident outside India who is registered as an overseas citizen of India card holder under Section 7, capital A of the Citizenship Act 1955, that is Act 57 of 1955. And then coming to Clause AKA. Permissible jurisdiction means such jurisdiction as notified by the central government under subclause F of subrule 3 of rule 9 of PMLA, prevention of money laundering, maintenance of records, rules 2005. This subclause is inserted by GSR 332E dated 24 January 2024. Like that, listed Indian company definition is also substituted by the same notification. A resident Indian citizen means an individual who is a person resident in India and is a citizen of India by virtue of the Constitution of India or the Citizenship Act 1955. Coming to sectoral cap under clause AM, which means the maximum investment, including both foreign investment on a repatriation basis by a person resident outside India in equity, equity instruments of a company or the capital of a LLP, as the case may be, and indirect foreign investment, unless provided otherwise. Here I stopped in between equity instruments of a company. The words and debt are omitted. Earlier it contained that also. And debt by S.O4355 bracket E close dated 5th December 2019, effective from 17th October 2019. Until that was that hold good. Now it is not included with the non-debt, the undebt words. This shall be the composite limit of the Indian investee entity. Explanation: FCCB and DRs having underlying of instruments being in the nature of debt shall not be included in the sectoral cap. This is one clause in the explanation. Second clause: any equity holding by a person resident outside India resulting from conversion of any debt instrument under any arrangement shall be reckoned under the sectoral cap. Next clause AN. This is inserted, this is defining startup company inserted by S.O3492 bracket E close dated 16th August 2024 for the then existing clause and before substitution, let us try to understand by reading that old clause with the new substituted clause. Old clause read like this: startup company means a private company, private, incorporated under the Companies Act and identified under GSR 180 bracket E close dated 17th February 2016 issued by Department of Industrial Policy and Promotion, Ministry of Commerce and Industry. That was the old clause, which was replaced by this 16th August 2024 applicable S.O3492E to read as follows. Means a private company incorporated under the Companies Act 2013, Act number 18 of 2013, and identified, this was absent, and identified as startup under the notification of Government of India number 127 E dated 19 February 2019, issued by the same Department for Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade, Ministry of Commerce and Industry, as amended from time to time. Then AO was sweet equity shares means sweet equity shares defined under the Companies Act 2013. Then clause AP transferable development rights TDR shall have the meaning assigned to it in the regulations made under subsection 2 of section 6 of the Act Foreign Exchange Management Act 1999. Then AQ unit means a beneficial interest of an investor in an investment vehicle. Explanation. This explanation was inserted by S.O1361 bracket E close dated 14th March 2024 with effect from same date 14th March 2024 to read. For the purpose of this clause, unit shall include unit that has been partly paid up, which is permitted under the regulations framed by SEBI in consultation with Government of India. Then the last clause, the definitions is AR. Venture capital fund means a fund established in the form of a trust, there we noted trust reads like that. A company including a body corporate registered under the SEBI Alternate Investment Fund Regulations 2012. So the subsection says the words and expressions used but not defined in these rules shall have the same meanings respectively assigned to them in the Act, FEMA Act, rules by the government under FEMA Act and regulations by the RBI and this Act. Then subsection 2A, this is inserted by S.O.244.2 bracket E dated 27 January 2020, effective from same date. Reserve Bank to administer these rules. Framed by government, sometimes government may administer, so this is delegated to RBI. These rules shall be administered by the Reserve Bank. And subsection 2 of section 2A is while administering these rules, Reserve Bank may interpret and issue such directions, circulars, instructions, clarifications as it may deem necessary, for effective implementation of the provisions of these rules. That is chapter 1. In my next video, I'll just read out the chapter number, chapter heading, sections marginal heading, and section name or subtitle up to the end of the provisions. And after that, the schedules follow. There are to chapter 9, 34 is the last rule. Then the schedules almost 11. This is the exhaustive one, and I'll just read out the chapter headings names in the next my video. Thank you for the patient hearing. This is an important piece of legislation